Hello, fellow collectors. So today I want to share the Chicago Bears team collection that I am starting up. A little quick background information. The first really sports team that I remember, my first memory, is the 1985 Chicago Bears team. They were the team I first started following as a kid. I was about 9-10 years old at the time, and I followed them. They were my team all the way up until I moved to the Carolinas around the year 2000. So was a Bears fan for a long time. I switched to the Panthers once I moved, but I've kept tabs on my Bears team, even though I've been living here in the Carolinas. So there is a great account on YouTube, Bears Cards 34. He does a great job with his videos, and he shows off a lot of his Bears collection. So through watching his videos, it kind of got me thinking about how much I love those Chicago Bears and how fun it would be to kind of pull all my Bears collection together. So I've decided to do that really because of Bear Cards 34. So I got an album. And I put the little Jim McMahon sticker on the side there so I know which album this belongs to. And so I started pulling all my Bears cards together. So we'll take a quick look at it here. Now, how I'm going to organize all of this collection. Any Bears autographs I only have one right now. That is a Shane card, and he played at East Carolina. I don't even know if he ever made the team. But anyways, I'm going to put the autographs of all the Bears players up front. And then behind that, I will have any of the game-worn, player-worn type jersey cards here. So I have one of Greg Olsen when he played for a short time for the Bears there. Jim McMahon, and there's a Jordan Howard one I have there. So autographs in front, jersey cards behind that. And then we'll get into the players. I have some Bears cards. I don't have a ton, so it's going to be fun kind of starting kind of over again. So there's Neil Anderson, who is a favorite of mine. He kind of came after the big kind of that 85 group disappeared. There's some Cutler cards there. Richard Dent. So when you're starting kind of a team collection, you kind of have some guidelines in place, because I don't want to player collect every single Bear player that's ever played for the Bears. So I'm obviously going to stick to kind of my favorite Bears over the years, and obviously Richard Dent is one. With the older players, I will get into, kind of concentrate on some of the older cards. With the newer Bears, we have Justin Fields here. I'll probably stick to more of the shiny and fun cards that they have, because I don't want to start up a whole bunch of different types of player collections. So looking for the vintage cards, the shiny stuff for the newer players, and then any autographs or jersey type cards. Their old Red Grange played for the Bears. We got Dan Hampton there. And then Jim Harbaugh. Played for the late 80s there for the Bears, early 90s. So yeah, super excited to start this. I think it'll be really fun during football season too to pull this album out and just kind of give you those, give you a good feeling as you're watching the Bears on TV. It's just fun to see just all these Bears cards all in one place too. Alshon Jeffrey, who was a great receiver for the Bears for a short period of time. Wilbur Marshall. I went over these McMahon cards in my last video. One of the worst McMahon cards ever. That one's super cool with the bandana, though. And the 86 one is one of my favorites of his. Got a bunch of theirs, and a bunch of McMahon there. So, yeah. So, like I said, the big thing, if you were starting a team collection, and I would advise it, because what's cool about this, too, is when I go to card shows, I'm going to be able to find a ton of Bears cards at some really good prices. Since they have not been good for a really long time, there's not going to be a whole lot of, high-priced Bears cards out there. There's Peyton, of course, and I've actually, when I decided I was going to start team collecting the Bears, I got on Sports Lots. I picked up a bunch of Peyton cards for real cheap. So I got about 10 different ones. I think I paid about $7 or $8 for the 10 different Peyton cards. So they should be in the mail any day here too. So, kind of a plus, especially in this down market, is if you're starting up kind of a team collection, you can probably pick up some really cool cards of your favorite players from your team there. And like I was saying, this kind of stuff will be kind of concentrating on too with some of the newer cards. Is kind of more of those shiny fun cards and not so much of like the base stuff. So as I start adding cards to the collection, I'll probably start pulling a few of the base type cards out. for those Bears fans out there. I'm sure you remember Rashawn Salam. He got off to a great start with the Bears that first year or two he was on the team. I wish I had some good Gale Sayers cards. And Iron Mike. So yeah. Yeah, so here's another example too. So Trubisky, a lot of the shiny prism stuff. Some fun cards of his there. And old Urlacher. So yeah, real excited to be starting this Bear team collection. Like I said, make sure you got some guidelines in place when you're collecting. And like I said, once again, how I got is tied it up. I'm going to have autographs in front, or jersey cards behind that, and then the player cards after there. So if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be updating this video as soon as I get to some card shows and start finding some Bears cards in those cheap 25-cent and 50-cent bins there. So I hope everyone's doing good. Until next time, be good. Go Bears.